Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, enemies and friends, welcome to the show that never ends. You are tuned into On the Real on the R Squared Network, where we discuss all the things that matter in the world of TV and movies. I'm your host, Steve Johnson, and joining me today is my brother from the same mother, LeVar Johnson.
How y'all doing out there?
Damn, I'm good. Also, we have the last best hope for the resistance, Mr. Woods.
What up?
All right, and today we are going to be talking about Big Eyes, Black Spider-Man, fallouts because of bad performance, and R-rated Star Trek.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay, so Mr. Woods, which one of these? Well, don't even worry about it. I know it's what we're talking about.
We're just
first.
jumping into something?
Yeah.
All right.
We're going to talk about not whitewashing, but CG washing. All right. So this week, a little trailer came out for a movie called Battle Angel Alita. Yep. This was an old anime that James Cameron had the rights for. Okay. And he has been trying to get this movie made for about 20 years. So he finally got, I guess, the technology to the place where he wanted it to be. He got all the pieces in place, and we know James Cameron. This is the guy who has done Titanic, Avatar, Terminator, Aliens.
Yeah. Right.
He's a big deal.
He set the standards.
So he has waited until he could make this movie.
Technology caught up with his ideas.
He's also a patient man.
Right, and he's because he's directing the Avatar movies now. He's not directing this, but he wrote the script and he produced this whole thing. So this is sort of his pet project, and he gave it to Robert Rodriguez.
Right. Yes.
Now the trailer just came out, and as you can see on the screen here, that is what Alita looks like.
Big eyes.
Big eyes, yes.
Right.
Yeah, so they sort of wanted to go with like the CG, the anime character. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The anime art style.
Right. The anime art style.
So that's accurate.
Right. Now this is in stark contrast to what they did with Scarlett Johansson.
Right.
In what's the name of that movie? Somebody help me out.
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in a Shell.
Right.
Where they cast someone who was a robot, but an Asian
Caucasian
person.
lady and an Asian.
Yes. It got a lot of flack for whitewashing.
For Caucasian face.
And now, instead of whitewashing, they've basically just made, because she's a robot, they made her a CG character.
Right.
They only said it was whitewashed because people didn't like the movie.
I mean, they were saying that before it came out, though.
Yeah, but if people like a movie, then they won't be saying that. That's just something to pick it apart.
Now, let me ask you guys a question.
Right.
Is this the way to do it? Is this what you do? It's an anime character. It's a robot.
Yeah.
Why not do it this
way? For me,
who can complain about it?
I think that because obviously it's a cyberpunk genre, and so that's kind of, it's all this high tech technology. High tech. It's a dystopian world, but everything is, everyone's poor and stuff like that, but it's all this high tech things that's around them. But for me personally, I don't think that it's so much whitewashing. I think that if this is this is the best way you can do it, because everyone around her, Alita, the main protagonist,
and she's on the screen right now, the anime cartoon.
Okay, so the main protagonist is influenced from the manga, right? And she has the stylized big eyes like the manga, right? Skin color is the same, hairstyle is the same, everything else, and she's a CG character, correct? But everyone around her are quote unquote normal looking humans. So I don't feel, for one, she's a cyborg. For three, she is akin to the character that she was, pulled from. Okay. So I don't see it as like, oh, well, now if people have a big problem with that, they can voice their opinion, obviously, but
and
to
they
me,
have, and
why? Because Japanese people made the source material, so nobody else but Japanese can play a fictional character. It doesn't matter who plays it. It's just like if it's a good movie.
I mean, for me, I think it matters. I think it does matter of who plays, but in this, it's done right or tastefully is the best way, because you
think so?
Yeah,
it's about if a movie is a good movie.
People feel weird that it's a big eye character because she looks weird, right?
No. I guess there are people that are. Firstly, there are people saying we're in the uncanny valley, so it looks like super fake, so they can't take it seriously.
But that I can agree with. But adjust, adjust to
but the other argument is, why couldn't you cast an Asian actress?
In terms of the fake, it's still CG, correct?
It's a effing cartoon, dude. Who's to say what race a cartoon is? Because Japanese people made the source material, it's a cartoon. These things are made of cartoons. So it does not matter about race or whatever. But you can say the same thing about, American cartoons too, like comic books, but still they do that too. It's like if it's good, then it's good. It doesn't matter what color they are. It's just like how Nick Fury was white at one point, but now he's black.
I dig it. I understand.
Right,
it doesn't matter.
There's all sides to that argument. I mean,
it's fictitious.
I think I have a little more sensitivity to that.
Hey, my dude. They made Jesus white. Okay.
Okay.
I have a little more sensitivity to that stuff, so I can understand why people would be in an uproar. But personally, I think that, as I said, just in my personal opinion, it's done in a tasteful manner because it's akin to the anime character. It's akin to the manga. It's how the character is drawn. The way the cinematography is going to probably come out. This is a Robert Rodriguez directed film. There's going to be blood, there's going to be violence, and it's going to be stylized.
Are you saying there will be blood?
There will be blood.
I knew that was coming.
No, there will be blood. And so James Cameron is a patient man. He wanted technology to catch up to him, and even though there are time and time again in Hollywood, whitewashing does occur constantly, more often than we could talk about. Exhaustively, but at the same time, in this manner, just for me personally, in this instance, thank you. In this instance, I don't feel personally in such an uproar about how the character is designed, the concept, the CG. She's the only one that's odd amongst everyone else, along with the other, cyborgs and stuff like that. But
right now, let me ask you another question. Do you know who is playing? Can you look that up? Can you IMDb that?
Sure. The android?
Yes. All right. I have her on the screen right now, but I do not know her name off the top of my head. And it happens to be a Latino woman.
A Latina?
Latina. Yes. There you go. Okay. So there's diversity here. And if you're asking me,
so you're talking about the lead is Rosa Salazar?
Yes, Rosa Salazar. And what else has she been in?
Well, I have to look. I didn't go that far.
Okay, well there you go. But no, if you're
she's known for Scorch Trials, Batman: Arkham Origins.
Okay, she's done
Night Owls.
Okay,
yeah.
Now see,
Maze Runner.
Yes, all Scorch Trials, Maze Runner. That's all in the same franchise. But I'm gonna say this feels like Ghost in a Shell done right.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the idea that she is an android and so she's all CG, to me that makes sense because she is artificial. And to me, I'll actually allow the whole Uncanny Valley thing because, and some people will say, okay, she's not supposed to be real, but she doesn't look physical, which means she doesn't look like she's there. And because we're in that space...
She looks real enough to me.
Right, but we're in that space where...
It's on a Smeagol type of thing. Smeagol looked like he was really there.
But
there was some shots where it don't look like, like these movies nowadays, you see the character and it clearly looks like a CG character. There's times you look at Smeagol with them big eyes and he looked like he was really there, like he was a real person.
Right, but there are people that say because you're just that close and because it's not like it is an ape or Smeagol, you know what I mean, or Gollum, whoever you want to call him, because she so closely resembles a person, you sort of pick up on the fact that it's fake. And it's not like you could buy Roger Rabbit being in the same scene as the detective because it's a Roger Rabbit. So because it's a full cartoon, right? And so you sort of can suspend your disbelief.
Right.
But because she's playing something that looks so close to a human, you sort of say, hey, that looks off.
You mean like the CG on Superman's mustache?
Why you have to take it there?
I mean,
Why would you do that?
Like, if you're going to spend money on CG, why bad CG?
I'm just saying. Right.
But moving on.
No way. that movie should have cost $300 million, and the CG was that bad on his upper lip.
Well,
I'm sorry, I'm not opening up that. I
putting
can't say I'm not
CG
opening
smiles
up
on
that
his
voice.
face.
I think that the movie, we have to be fair. The movie wasn't actually budgeted at $300 million. They had to do reshoots, and that added on, and that mustache helped with it. But that said,
yes, take us.
There was another trailer that came out.
Yes, sir.
And
with some dope CG.
Apparently, Miles Morales got himself a damn movie finally.
All right.
Shout out to Black Spider-Man.
And it's
looking good.
It's looking interesting.
When it's slated for
December 2018, a year from today.
Diversity, people. Diversity.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of diversity, the name of this movie is Into the Spider-Verse. So you're actually going to get a whole bunch of Spider-Mans in this
So we are getting 4 Marvel movies. Well, kind of, sort of.
Well, this is in the Sony Spider-Man
Sony
thing.
product, right?
Yeah. And how does that work? Does this fall under canon?
There's a Spider-Verse. So it's different universes. So it is canon.
Well, it would be interesting if it's like there's a shot in there where, like, okay, in this universe he's a cartoon, but then we'll jump to another universe and he's real. Like he's a real boy, and he's talking to Peter Parker from
the
MCU.
way they could show Tobey Maguire, they could show freaking.
Now, if they get Tobey Maguire to do the voice,
Andrew Garfield,
but that's interesting.
They can have all of them and show all of them. And that's what's so dope about it.
That's what's
they
interesting.
Can act like all of it is canon.
Yeah, that's what's interesting at what LeVar is bringing up, because if you think about it as if you're showing this as a not cartoon, but as a
multi-universe,
like a multi-universe with like 2D, 3D graphics, things like that, right? And then you go into the realism, where let's just say in 2019 or 2020, where just like that, you have a real movie with a real actor on the screen, and it's just nothing. It's all a part of the canon. You go, oh, okay. I think people can get with that. I could be with that.
I don't know.
Even the whole thing with Flashpoint, it's just like how they can restart the whole DC EU from that movie.
They might have to.
Yeah, because they can show you, there's a different universe. Recast this whole thing. It's a different universe where all of y'all are different people.
But could you see this as an animated version and then just watch it like a next movie is a real action?
Yeah, because it's a different universe, and I'll accept it.
Okay,
you'll allow it.
You'll allow it.
You'll allow it.
That's what I'm saying. Like
okay,
I think it works if it's done right.
If it's done right. But from that
trailer, this movie is good.
Like he said, if it's a good movie.
Yeah.
From that trailer, does it look like it was done right? Do you like what you're seeing so far? It's the style of animation they're using. Right. It's not like a Pixar thing. It's its own thing. It feels very interesting to me. I kind of dig it.
I just want to know if those J's are bands or not.
Oh, the band J's?
Yeah,
I was like,
J's,
crap, you got J's?
Yeah. I saw. I was like, oh, come on.
You mad because I'm styling on you?
And that glass that broke off is definitely killing somebody.
Oh, absolutely.
Someone's dead.
They're dead right now as we speak. It's over for.
All right.
But moving on.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you guys a question. What if I told you that one day we would get a Star Trek movie that not only was hold on, take it easy there, Chief. Not only directed by not only rated R, but directed by Quentin Tarantino. What would you do?
Get out of town.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Now,
personally,
why?
I would say get the F out of here and all kinds of bleeps in Quentin Tarantino like fashion.
You know what I would say? I would say rated R one more time.
What?
Say it again.
So, Mr. Woods.
Yes, sir.
What you sound like you have some trepidations about this thing. What's your problem? Why don't you like good things?
I mean, well, look, you're a Star Trek fan.
I am. I'm more of a Trekkie than I am a Wars guy.
Right, and so you know that Star Trek was based or rooted in rather exploration. Right.
Right.
And it's looking for hope, looking for the beyond, right? What's
And
beyond?
my favorite thing was the social commentary, but
There was social commentary, and they didn't shy away from sex and all this other
first
stuff, right?
interracial on-screen kiss.
Right, but
Yo, man, first interspecies, man.
yes, but everything was done tastefully, right?
My
And so there was a certain tone, and you could probably tell me better, but there was a certain tone that was always, again, as I said, rooted in hope and the good in mankind and beyond, right? And so Tarantino, not saying that he's stuck in one genre because he's went all over the place. He's an artsy guy,
He
for
loves
better or
Westerns
worse,
right now.
right? For better or worse. Yeah, but I mean, even in The Hateful Eight, didn't somebody's head explode?
No. What I'm saying is he can do different genres, right?
I mean, he can, but so real quick. So with doing Star Trek and turning it rated R, why is that necessary? What am I missing from Star Trek aside from more cowbell? You know what I mean? And so if even with this guy, what's the guy who just did Star Trek? Abrams,
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams. Some people didn't like how he did it because it went away
I
from
didn't.
it went. Oh, you didn't? Okay,
No,
so
I wasn't a fan.
it was more action oriented, and it took away from the themes that Star Trek is rooted in.
It was too Star Warsy,
and so,
in my opinion.
So where?
So you didn't like any of the recent Star Trek movies?
They were all right, but they weren't Star Wars.
So-
I thought they were great sci-fi movies. They
Right.
just weren't Star Trek.
So in what of Tarantino's, catalog would showcase that he's going to give me this thought-provoking movie unless he's going to have.
I heard he said he had an idea for it, and they liked his idea so much that they gonna give him money to do it. So that, and I trust Quentin Tarantino's vision
Right.
and his track record to tell me that it's gonna be a good movie. I have never
It's going to
seen
be
a break.
entertaining.
I have never seen a break from Quentin Tarantino.
Now, let
I've
me
never
ask you
seen
a question. So,
Tarantino movie that I did not like.
He definitely makes you think.
to address that, so firstly, he came up with the idea, and he had the sense enough to know I probably shouldn't write this. And this is the first time where you're going to see a Quentin Tarantino movie,
Right.
if it happens.
Right.
The first time you'll see a Quentin Tarantino movie that he did not write. Right? He has the overall idea, and he gave it to the guys that know the lore of Star Trek to go and tell that story.
Okay.
So there's a writer's
Star
room
Trek.
put together for this thing. Star Trek.
Okay.
Trek.
Trek, not
Trek.
Track is Pharrell's
Yeah,
label.
I get it. I get
Star
it.
Trek.
Okay.
Star Trek. Y'all
so-
keep saying track. I let it go mad times, but it's irking me now.
I understand. I
Did
appreciate
I say
that.
track?
Y'all said track mad times.
Okay, Star Trek. So
Trek.
I think I said track.
to
And that's
again
it.
answer your question.
Right.
What is it that told you that Quentin Tarantino could do a kung fu film before you saw Kill Bill? Or
Right.
what is it that told you he could do a Western before you saw Django Unchained and then The Hateful Eight? I think that
Was
a
Hateful
true-
Eight that good?
I love that
Again,
movie.
somebody's head
Yes, it
exploded. Like just
They deserved it.
It
But
was
again, so
I love the brutal
it's
violence.
entertaining.
No.
I'm not taking nothing
I
away
love
from.
the dialogue in it will be great.
well, he's not writing it though.
I'm pretty sure he's helping.
I'm
do that.
sure he's gonna like pen some things in there. I guess what I'm
It's a
saying is
Tarantino movie at the end of the day,
because
and he's gonna help write
the
it.
thing that I didn't
So
like.
is it going to feel like a Tarantino
He's
movie,
gonna
or is
have
it
the
going to feel
people
like a
who
Star?
know the lore in there to help write it, but then he's gonna put his dialogue all over that.
So
It's gonna feel
so,
like a Star Trek movie.
but again, I
Did
think
you
when
hear
we
that,
are, I think when we
Patrick
are
Stewart
dealing with,
wants to come back.
I don't know about that. But when we're
He said-
dealing with,
Did you read the quotes?
I did not read that,
Yeah. He said
and you
he
can
was
tell me
hired,
about that in one
yeah.
second. But when an artist is doing a thing,
Right.
right? We can't say like if you're an artist and you're able to transform yourself, then it's not gonna feel like, oh, this is just anything. It's not gonna feel like it's Hateful Eight.
Right.
A true artist is gonna make this feel like Star Wars, but make a good film, right? When
Right.
you look at the Christopher Nolans of the world, and he jumps from this is a a movie about insomnia, which is called Insomnia, a movie about magicians,
right.
or a movie about a superhero,
right.
or a movie about space and time travel, or a movie about war.
Right.
So a real artist, and I believe Quentin Tarantino is one of the best directors out there.
Right.
I think that a real artist like Tarantino can put his spin on it. So I am excited, and maybe the R rating is not so. Hang on, maybe it's not so much about I need to say motherfucker this and motherfucker that.
Right.
Maybe it's about they want to actually deal with adult subject matter, and we want to separate ourselves from what you see in Star Wars, because there is tasteful R-rated stuff that's not all about blood and guts.
Right.
So it could happen, and it just could be what I'm looking for and hope that I get is an adult themed Star Trek. Okay, so for me,
I heard that one.
For me, I'm down for it. I'm ready to go.
Okay, so let me read you the passage.
Read the quote, please, sir.
He said, "One of my dreams is to work with Tarantino. I admire his work so much, and to be in a Tarantino film would give me so much satisfaction. So if he is going to direct something to do with Star Trek, and there was a possibility of dear old John Luke showing up again and doing that for Mr. Tarantino, I would embrace it."
Luke Picard.
Yeah, I mean, it may be a cameo.
I
don't want the movie to be rooted around
Give
him.
me a cameo. He's saying some wild stuff.
And in Tarantino fashion, Luke Picard is going to get his face blasted off 30 seconds
and the
into
whole
the film.
audience is going to cheer.
Yes.
He's going to say, "Shut the F up." And then, I mean, have y'all watched the show, Blunt Talk?
No.
You've never watched Blunt Talk?
No. Oh, that's the Patrick Stewart thing.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to watch it, but there's too many things on my list. But we do have to move on because we got a lot of things to get through.
Yes, we do.
Imagine him like on Family Guy. You know, Family Guy,
I know.
But on American Dad.
Yes.
But because writes it. What's his name? Seth MacFarlane.
Okay. All right. Now.
But all kind of cursing and raunchy. It's a good show.
I believe it. Now. Moving on, there was one more trailer that we got to talk about, which is the newest independent film from this new upstart director. I don't know if you've heard of him before. You probably haven't. Steven Spielberg.
You had me going there.
Player One.
He did.
It's all about the VR antics and nostalgia.
So did he actually direct this one, or he produced it?
No. He directed it. This is a Spielberg film.
Movie. Okay.
Now, I'm going to say that the first, I guess it was a teaser trailer.
Right.
I didn't know how I felt about it, because I feel like lately Spielberg has been sort of trying to make, if you look at the BFG and you look at some of his newer movies, I'm like, you know what? He put in so much work. He's just doing stuff for him now.
Right.
And if he wants to make that movie, I'm going to see it day one. But I'm not really expecting it to whatever. And I saw this.
Like, it's trash, but I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. Yes.
Spielberg is that dude.
Spielberg is, in my opinion, the greatest director that ever lived.
He's that dude.
But when I saw the first trailer, I was like, look, they're leaning too hard on nostalgia, right? Like, don't just think you're going to show me Freddy Krueger doing a jump kick off somebody's head and then spinning around, cutting up the Iron Giant and some Chucky, and think you're going to get me excited about it.
But you was excited, though.
I was.
Okay. He's trying to dookie all over it before
right.
But then
you saw the second trailer.
I saw the second trailer, and they actually showed like what the story was about.
Right.
And I was like,
because I saw pieces of that first trailer. I was like, who cares?
Right, because it was just a bunch. It was like a sizzle reel, and I was like, okay, sure. I've seen stuff like this on YouTube, like, But this showed a story like it's Willy Wonka in VR.
Right.
And now you're telling me that Spielberg can literally do anything he wants and doesn't have to be... Spielberg.
I want to know, how does he have all of these rights to these characters?
No, it was in the book, and they got the rights. Again, it's just a license.
Crazy. Yeah, okay.
So
Spielberg got connections, man.
So he's just licensed to utilize these characters and names in this film, and then that's it. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So, and
that's
again,
dope.
it's your sort of... because you're not really saying you're in the canon, and that's recognized because it's a
video game.
It's a video game, right?
Okay.
So you're just like, hey, this is like basically free advertisement for these other things. So I don't see why they would say
it's like in any movie when they talk about anything that actually exists in the real world.
Right.
So I mean, I guess they can do it. It's like, or like in let's say Who Framed Roger Rabbit, how you saw all those different characters.
All those different characters.
Or in what was this movie? The one that came out recently with the video game characters. What was his name with the big fists? You know what movie I'm talking about? With the girl, she had glitches and stuff like that.
Oh wait, no. The Pixar movie, Wreck-It Ralph.
There you go.
Okay.
Wreck-It Ralph. Okay,
so
this had like a vibe of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, right? If you look at the trailer, you know the guy who created what they call the Oasis basically has died, and he left an Easter egg somewhere in the game, in the simulation, and whoever finds it will become half a trillionaire. But there are corporations that want to take it over, so
can't have that.
There's a lot of other things going on,
right?
And now he's like being chased by corporations and the government or whatever it is. So you've got intrigue, you've got nostalgia, you've got Spielberg being able to do whatever he wants and play with characters that he has already played with. So, or we've always wanted to see him play with. I don't know. It looked pretty damn good.
I want to see it. He's got my money.
He had my money anyway, but I'm actually like glad to give it to him this time. It's not like begrudgingly. Mr. Woods, what do you think about this thing before we move on? Quickly,
really quick. Excuse me. Really quick. I'm interested in the story just because it's probably a mirror into how our society is operating, where we feel things are more real in the internet world versus our own reality. And so what does that mean for people when you can barely socialize with each other in day-to-day life, but once you're online,
you can be whoever you want.
You're texting and messaging and things like that. So that's kind of interesting to me. So I'm just curious about things like that, and I want to see how this plays out in this film. I am looking forward to it, and want to see where he takes it. Where's the story? Where is it going? What journey am I going on?
What journey?
Yeah.
What did you think about this thing?
I thought it looked good, man. I'm excited to see it, like to see all of these different characters like play with each other. You know, it's like a nerd's wet dream. To just to see, you know, I wonder if it's gonna be like Marvel and DC characters in there. You know, you're gonna get to see all together,
of this. Like just
see the Avengers pop up, see Superman pop up, Spawn, whoever.
Warner Brothers is making this,
so I mean, anything could happen.
Anything.
So the interesting thing to me about just the premise, because this comes from a book, and some people sort of don't think that some people sort of complain that the book leans too heavily on nostalgia and doesn't have much of a story there. But the premise of the world that they've built, so essentially, there are no in this world there. The jobs are gone. They've all been taken by automation.
Right.
People have nothing to do. And now, basically, everyone lives because there's nothing to do. There's no way to define your life by your work because there are no jobs. People live their lives in VR.
Okay.
And you could almost see, like, that's where we're going.
Right.
You know, people talk about the universal basic income because automation is going to steal everybody's jobs. And we won't have anything to do, so we'll actually find jobs in something like The Sims or Second Life, just so that we'll have something to do.
Right.
So to me, this is interesting. It sort of plays on that, and I trust Spielberg, whatever, you know what I'm saying.
Whatever his name is, don't
to do the right thing,
yes.
Right? Spike Lee.
Yeah, I trust him to do what he's supposed to do.
Right.
And with that, I think it's time to move on, since it's time for us to have a little bit of serious talk. We are moving on to what we like to call the focal point. No, we're not. We're not doing that yet. We are not doing that yet. We're not focusing yet, because we have one more thing we do want to talk about. And Mr. Woods, I want you to tell us about it. So apparently, there is some trouble in the house of the Warner Brothers.
Warner
Two brothers named Warner.
Two brothers named Warner. Vanna.
Yeah.
Is it Vanna?
I don't know.
Look, okay, so the original article was written by Brent Lang of Variety, and so I would suggest people to go check out the original article, so I won't read it line by line, piece by piece. But basically, there's a shakeup going on in terms of the restructuring of DC films over at Warner Brothers, right?
And why? Firstly, why is that?
Because of the disappointment of the Justice League.
Okay.
Right? That seems to be the last straw with Warner Brothers. They're pretty pissed off about that. And so they have
pissed off now.
Yeah, John Berg is going to be leaving his current job running the comic books film production division.
Ooh, so what is happening with that film production division?
Well, so to my knowledge, Time Warner wants to bring Warner Brothers and DC back into its fold, so they don't have such a long leash as they once did.
Okay, so for a little bit of context, people, if you don't know, so right now over at Disney owns Marvel, but they bought Marvel Studios, and now Marvel Studios operates as its own sort of subsidiary of Disney. So they have their own they have their own studio on the lot, and they do what they want independently. Obviously, there is some oversight, but basically Kevin Feige runs that show. Yeah. This gentleman that they just let go, what's his name again?
John Berg.
John Berg was running the DC Films department in Warner Brothers, but apparently
the comic books division.
Yes, the comics books division. So what they want to do now is say, no, you guys, you need more supervision. You probably shouldn't operate independently.
Right.
So we want some more supervision over you. This is sort of the way that Fox treats their X-Men and Fantastic Four characters. You're not your own studio. You are just one of the properties we have.
Right.
It's what Sony does with Spider-Man as well. There is no Spider-Man building.
Right.
So that's interesting. Anything else happen?
Again, as I said, go to Variety to get the full details of what's happening. But so a search is underway for the replacement. Berg will instead become a production partner with Roy Lee. He's the producer of the Lego Movie and It, who has a deal going on a lot. Warner is expected to name a new person to run points on DC's films. Jeff Johns, who has partnered with Berg on much of the creative direction of the movies, is expected to continue serving as DC Entertainment's chief creative officer. And so one thing I wanted to highlight within this article was that Time Warner was displeased with how Warner Brothers kept bringing back directors. That was something specific that he said.
I want to just add some color to that. So firstly, Jeff Johns...
they did a movie that people didn't like to replace him from the first movie.
Right. But
exactly.
You should have been fired, Zack Snyder.
That's the way it sounds like.
Why y'all kept let him get L after L after L?
That's how they were coming off. They were like, you keep bringing this guy back, and they were displeased with the CGI.
Slow down.
All right.
Everybody, just take it easy.
This is Time Warner.
Zack Snyder. Now hold on.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying what they're saying.
This is what they're saying. Exactly.
Okay,
LeVar's not coming at Zack Snyder.
Everybody, take it
to some slack, man. His daughter killed herself, man.
All right. Now, look, here's the thing.
Don't you put that stuff on me, Ricky Bobby.
Firstly, I just want to talk about Jeff Johns. Now, they're saying he's chief creative officer, but now he will serve instead of a producer as a consulting role. So he's basically demoted. Okay. Right? Like, he's not the Kevin Feige. They're just going to come to him and say, hey, we want to do this movie. Give us some ideas.
Right. Who was that character in such and such? Was he good? And he has to go, yeah, he's actually blah, blah, blah. All right, yeah, thanks. Close the door and keep it moving.
Right. And so maybe that's where you keep him. People don't know, Kevin Feige didn't just start at Marvel Studios. Like, he was a producer on the original X-Men movie. Right. He was out there for Blade. He was out there for a lot of these other movies.
Right, he was grinding.
Before. So he's just the guy that he started in the comics, so he knows everything. And then he had maybe 5 or 10 movies before the whole big MCU thing.
Right.
He had the vision.
Right.
Pun intended.
Do you know there's a story that Kevin Feige was the one during the original X-Men film that he said, hey, we need to make Wolverine's hair bigger, so the hairstyle you have, because he just had a normal like slick back haircut, Hugh Jackman. Right. It was Kevin Feige's idea to give him the
iconic big hair.
Right. That coif.
Right.
That look, yes.
Coif. So that and at that time he was just like a production assistant.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So it's interesting. That's the guy that's like, giving us all this. But I don't know.
What were you about to say that you was coming in defense of Zack Snyder when Time Warner has said that they were displaced?
And I'm gonna go and do this for 3 minutes, and then we're gonna move on to our next thing.
Right.
Zack Snyder was doing what they asked him to do.
Time Warner's displeased with.
I hear you, right?
They said, why you keep bringing back directors as
Yes, but here's the thing: they were using Zack Snyder as a fall guy. At the time when Man of Steel came out, that movie is dark because Christopher Nolan made it dark. Christopher Nolan and David Goyer made that story, and they produced it and handed it off and handpicked Zack Snyder to do it because of the work he had done in The Watchmen and other things.
Right.
Now, Christopher Nolan walked away from that so he could finish The Dark Knight Rises.
Right.
And that's the story because at that time, the world...
Need that break?
Please don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it to yourself.
Trash. Super trash.
Now, again, at that time, that's the tone.
I'm not gonna do that, so I can do this other break.
That's the tone that they wanted. Christopher Nolan set that in place. He did that. There were people didn't like how dark Superman was, so Zack Snyder. Hang on. Zack Snyder was working on a Man of Steel 2 to address that.
Right.
The studio said, "Hey."
Yes,
they saw how much money Avengers made, and it was like, oh shit, we need some of that money too. Put Batman in it.
Yeah.
And now they pushed the thing back a year, and now he had to make BVS a whole new thing that wasn't like really in the works. They had to put that together in a year, put Batman in it. They brought in Chris Terrio to write this new script, and now he made that, and now the studio throws him under the bus for something they asked him to do. They asked him to make Superman dark. They asked him to bring Batman in.
Here's a conspiracy theory, right? He's like, you know what? I'm locked in, and they're gonna pay me. I'm gonna sink this whole ship. I'm gonna have Lex putting Johnny Ranch in people's mouths.
All I'm saying is
the biggest stinker
they
ever.
brought in Chris Terrio to do the script.
Like, you want to meddle in my business?
And
okay,
then
I got you.
And then they were gonna make changes.
Unleash Lex.
He made the changes they asked him to make for Justice League, and then they still didn't like it, and then the rest is history, and we got Justice League. So let's please not everybody throws out. I'm not saying you guys are doing it, but if you're out there and you're listening to this, understand it's not all Zack Snyder's fault.
Look, the article just says
as many heads to be blamed.
Okay.
It's better to go around.
All right.
The article just says they were mad that Justice League came in. It was dark. They were pissed off at how they were worried because the film was once again for a third time a dark film,
which they asked them to do.
And they were mad.
All right.
Were tired of it.
That's it. Get what you want.
All right. On that note, I think it is time for us to move on to the focal point.
Now it's time.
Now it's time.
Okay.
It is finally, the time has come.
The time has come. Okay.
And now?
So, if we would get rid of these technical difficulties. All right.
There we go.
Now, the focal point is the part of the show where we like to take one news item of the week and sort of dig deeper and try to talk about what's the bigger picture, what are the social implications, what we feel. And we try to talk about things in a way where you may not hear it talked about elsewhere. So this week we want to talk about the inevitable Disney and 21st Century Fox. I don't know if it's a merger or it's a deal, but essentially
or
in
if it's
this
illegal.
deal,
the merge.
Yes, the corporate overlords are getting bigger, or will get bigger. It looks like, this thing is going to happen no matter what. And this deal is basically tagged to be about $60 billion, where Disney will purchase Fox's movie and television assets, but Fox will still keep their news and sports properties. Right. So the idea is they don't feel like they can focus, they can compete in this new world of Netflix and Amazon and Star Wars and Marvel. So they want to focus on their core competencies, which they feel are the news business and the sports business. Now,
The live business.
I have to ask myself, I started to ask myself, because at first I heard about this news and I was ecstatic. I couldn't wait. All dreams had been answered. It's happened. X-Men Homecoming.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
It was everything we wished. We got Spider-Man, and now we've got the X-Men, and now we can really see these things come to life. But what is the other side of this thing?
Right.
Now, when we say that when Fox says they want to keep and focus on their news business and sports,
Right.
I think, if you're asking me, that the sports is a red herring. What they really want to focus on is news.
It's television.
Right?
Right.
And we all know what Fox News is,
Okay.
right? In my opinion, it's basically a propaganda
So is
organization.
Fox.
You may agree, you may not agree, but
All of them are.
Fox.
the
That's
FCC,
my opinion.
head up by
It's all
Ajit
lies.
Pai,
Yes, sir.
has now basically relaxed rules on media companies owning broadcast networks and newspapers. And now, I don't know if you guys know about this, but there's a company called the Sinclair Group, and they're essentially buying up local news stations, and now they can buy newspapers and radio stations and sort of control the flow of information.
Okay.
So what I think this deal is about is Fox wanting the $60 billion so that they can focus hardcore on their news business and be in the Sinclair business, buying up radio stations, buying up newspapers, buying up more cable channels so that they can control the flow of information in red states and maybe blue states, and create bubbles so that people can sort of be siloed off and only hear the news with the spin that they put on it.
Right.
So I have to ask
Here's the
myself,
kicker. I don't watch none of that crap, so don't affect me.
right, but we see that there are a lot of tensions, again, whatever side of the aisle you're on, there are a lot of tensions in the world right now, and I don't know that Fox News is interested in us all being together as opposed to telling things from the conservative angle, and I'm putting that as politely as I can, but do we want more of that, and is getting an X-Men versus Avengers movie worth them having that kind of war chest to do that? And one more thing I want to
it's
say.
gonna happen anyway, so give me these damn movies.
Now, okay, I do want to focus in on that.
I can't stop that. They've been telling lies, and they're gonna keep telling lies. But it's on you as the viewer to know that they're telling a lie. Like when you watch the news, you have to watch the news objectively and not just take like this newscaster's opinion as fact.
But how can you watch objectively if, okay, the way to watch objectively is, okay, here's what Fox is saying. Okay, now here's what my local news network is saying. And here's what the newspaper's saying. Here's what the radio's saying.
Okay,
Station is
here's
saying. If
the
they're all
headline.
on the same page, how do you know what's what?
If a person you look at all the information and then you take in the information. I don't listen to the narrative that the reporter is trying to say and give me their opinion on what they think, because they are not the person. You feel me? You can give me the facts and I can see, if you show me footage and I see footage and this person did this, then I know that's to be that. If I listen to whatever parties are involved and I hear all sides from the parties that are involved in it, then I am left to make my own decision. Whatever the newscaster is trying to tell me to feel is not what I feel, because I can think on my own when I see all the facts that they present.
Maybe that's you, but what about everybody else?
Right.
And are
I
we
can't
okay?
control that.
Are we okay with wide-scale propaganda organizations? And you are right. I will give you that. You are right that this is going to happen.
It's going to happen regardless.
Whether it is Disney or not,
Regardless.
they're talking to Comcast.
Yo,
also.
I'm just caring that as long as Disney get this and I get to be entertained. Are you not entertained?
And now that's the other
But
question.
that's the dangerous part of it, don't you think?
It's going to happen anyway. I can't stop it. But if my childhood dreams are realized and I get to see all of this great stuff, you know what I'm saying? I can't stop that. People are going to be stupid. Stupid people are going to continue to be stupid. Ignorant people stupid is stupid does. People who've been ignorant and believe propaganda are always going to view the world that way.
Right.
I can't change that. And because these powers that be keep leveling up and that's what they want to do, then let people be who they are. I can't change that. I mean, maybe me saying that people should think more objectively, maybe I could change one person's mind, but it's on you as a person.
That's a start. You know
as
what I mean?
a person to think objectively on your own.
But
Make up your own mind.
Now, see, the thing is, I just kind of feel weird
But give me
cheering
these damn
on.
movies, though.
I feel weird cheering on a conglomerate just getting larger. Right? And again, one could argue that this is going to happen.
Care, but give me these movies.
So maybe we just need maybe this is all happening anyway, and we need some escapism, right? Maybe I need to see X-Men versus Avengers while everything tears itself apart, because that's the only respite I'm gonna get.
I mean, low key to me.
So would you rather them not sell it and keep the licenses?
No, to me, Disney is the new Death Star.
They're still gonna continue. I mean, are we mad about Disney owning all these properties? At least these properties live forever now.
Well, here's what I would counter that with, right? Because I do understand where you're coming from.
Like, is happy that Disney owns that, because it's just like,
yeah, but no, I would counter that yes, for us as comic book fans and things like that, and this is our childhood, and we're watching these things grow up, right? We also have to think about people behind us, right?
Yeah.
And people alongside of us, our kids and so forth. And what made Fox Studios, right, in terms of the film industry, what made them so good is that something that wouldn't fly in the ranks of Disney, because Disney has no problems axing directors, producers, anybody. If you don't follow their stronghold model of whatever they want, then you're done.
They just fired 2 Star Wars directors.
They just fire people. It doesn't matter if you don't
that's
follow what they want.
Whoever's directing the movie, they have the shots that they want to get.
No, but Pete,
that's pre-decided.
LeVar,
like,
hold
on,
to
do whatever. They have the things they want to get off. But they'll let you make your movie, but you can't go too far outside these lines.
No, you can't go outside of any lines of what Disney comes with. The craziest things that happened amongst Disney's Marvel properties was Taika Waititi. I apologize. And Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn.
Yes.
Okay, that was as crazy as it got, and maybe Ant-Man, but no, Ant-Man had another producer or director, and
no.
he got dropped or something like that. Correct?
Edgar Wright was the original one behind that.
So now think about this. Deadpool, we all are in agreement that Deadpool was an amazing rated R film, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And it was done differently. But do you think Ryan Reynolds would be able to go up to the studio and say, I'm not doing this if you're not letting the writers stay on board, and if you're not doing this and X, Y, and Z and so forth? They were like, all right, bounce.
I don't know that Deadpool, because that character is so in that specific. I get what you're saying, but in that specific situation, I think Ryan Reynolds. First of all, he has the rights to produce it, so you can't he doesn't own it. But
in terms of the technicality of that, right?
Right, but also
but
just the audience. No, I know what you mean. But what I'm saying is the audience there in that situation is not going to accept someone else's Deadpool. Right? You would have a massive
in my head
outcry.
When I read the comics, it's Ryan Reynolds' voice.
And also, I think that, I understand what you're saying.
No,
that they are a big company, and they put a smile on their face, and they show you a mouse and say it's all good. Not unlike Google with the pretty colors saying "do no evil." But they are good stewards of IP. And if anything, they've shown that they understand these characters. And if you don't believe that, look to the new Punisher series, because that is rated R as fuck.
But it's on TV.
No, I understand that.
And not only that, it's on Netflix. And
it's to drive home a point.
But I would have been letting them fly.
Easy.
I've been here the whole entire time.
No, you've been great. You've been great.
We just letting them fly.
We get
say S, F, and I'm here trying to be.
No, listen.
We appreciate that.
You've been great.
He
doesn't appreciate it. I do. All right. No,
now,
but
I'm here changing up who I am.
Would we have gotten Logan, where he's a depressed alcoholic, putting blades in people's eyes? You know what I'm saying, like that? Like from Disney, would we have gotten that?
No, but I think if you got
here's the whole thing.
Do you understand what I'm talking about?
I do understand.
Hold up.
I don't like Kingsman, but would we have gotten Kingsman and him talking
about
Did you not watch Guardians of the
Galaxy when they was putting holes in people? Like, Yondu killed how much people? And, like, holes going through people, and you see the blood coming out. It's not Wolverine level gory, but putting holes through people, killing people, hundreds of people.
No, but I think the question is, will Disney... They have a formula that's working right now.
Right.
Will they turn around and say, we're going to do these side auteur things? Now, one could argue that maybe that's the reason...
You can say shit.
Hang on.
Hang
on.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the reason they want another subsidiary so that they can say, you know what? This is Marvel Knights. You know that comic line. And so this is where we're going to do, under a different banner, this is where we're going to do our experimental, darker, R-rated stuff. I don't see, it wouldn't make smart business sense for them to change what Deadpool is.
Right.
Because the audience wouldn't respond to that. Now, I don't know. I do take your concern. I'm less concerned with whether they will be true to the character and put out good movies. I know that or I feel that they will.
Right.
My question is, aside from the implications, because we can't stop whatever's going to happen with Fox.
Right.
The other side of it is, and Mark Bernardin said this recently, that's one less studio as a creator that you can go to. Before,
thank you. I was just
you
about
could
to
go
say that.
to... If you had a movie to pitch, which
Fox,
we're going to do in a second,
Searchlight,
okay, Fox doesn't like your stuff, you could go to Disney. Disney
Right.
doesn't like your stuff, you could go to Paramount.
Right.
Paramount
New
don't like
Line
your stuff,
Cinema.
you could go to
You keep
Universal.
moving, right.
So there's basically like 7 that you could go to,
Right.
Yeah.
but now you can go to one less. Not to
Exactly.
mention people are going to lose their jobs because there's going to be a lot of overhead and redundancy if you're
Exactly.
folding in another company. So people are going to lose their jobs. But again, we get an Avengers movie versus X-Men movie. So is it worth
Not
it?
necessarily versus, but
And
they're gonna
I
be in
just
it.
want to drop this and then I'll leave it alone. And so jumping back to what you were saying in terms of one less place you can go to, and like LeVar said, like, just give me good films, and I do wholeheartedly understand that. Like, I want artists to be able to do dope art. Like, give me dope art, I'm for it, but that's all I'm worried about, and that's what you're trying to inform me, that maybe in a different way they'll come with Disney Night or something like that,
Marvel
because
Night.
or Marvel Night or whatever, because as bad as a cure for wellness is, can somebody go to Disney and say, hey, I have an idea for this film? Like, there's films that's under Fox's banner that maybe wasn't blockbuster success, but it was different. And it was like, okay, New Mutants, that's different. And then are they going to go in there and be like, nah, I'm not messing with it no more?
No, but again, I think that and that's the thing about it. I think that they wouldn't be buying all those properties, right? So you said it yourself. They are the Death Star. Their target is humans. You know what they're gonna want now? Adults who want adult-themed movies. That's another avenue of money for them.
Right.
So again, why not buy? And they used to do this already with
The fact
Touchstone
that
Pictures.
Deadpool and
Touchstone
Logan
Pictures
works,
was where Disney used to do
Their
their
rated
R-rated
movies.
movies. So I think now they get this. Remember, they're gonna get Alien. Right? Maybe Terminator, but that might be going back to James Cameron anyway. But the point is, Fox has produced and they're buying a lot of R-rated properties.
Right.
They want those things because they're trying to expand via content. And in regards to one less studio to go to, I do want to bring up this last point. We can all say something about it and move on because we got to get to the last part of this thing.
Right.
There is now Netflix on the scene and Amazon on the scene and Hulu on the scene. Netflix has just said for 2018 they're now going to release one new movie per week. They just did a movie that with $100 million budget for Will Smith that's coming out later this month. Called Bright. They're doing another $100+ million movie with Martin Scorsese. Scorsese couldn't sell this to the studios, right? They're going to use Benjamin Button technology to make these guys younger. Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci. And so maybe Fox just says, I can't compete in that world where the Netflixes and Amazons and Hulus are doing that.
Right.
So there are new studios and people that are trying experimental stuff in the world of streaming space. The world is changing.
Okay.
So maybe, why not? If we're still going to get our way out there stuff from the Netflixes and the Hulus and Amazons of the world, and Disney can now focus and cultivate IP, I think Disney would do great things with Avatar. I think Disney will do great things with the properties that they have. So I'm not concerned that Disney will put out bad movies, and I think maybe it's okay, but I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it, and I don't know how I feel about cheering on big conglomerates getting bigger.
Man, all this stuff about to be lit. Stop putting bad energy on it.
Bad juju.
That's a great way to end it.
All right. Now comes the fun part of the show.
But just a random thought.
Really quickly, because we got to finish this thing up.
Random thought about how this trash the CG was in Justice League. Look how young Disney was able to make this guy, Star-Lord's father, look. Or how
Kurt Russell,
or how he made.
But Kurt Russell has good genes, so
no,
it's
but
not
still,
saying.
no, It's not even that. And how they made Robert Downey Jr. look 19.
Well, they had mad time.
Yeah, they had more time.
I don't give a crap, man. Then they should have just made him have a beard.
All right.
But that's just random.
All right. Now, here is the fun part of the show where this is called What Would You Do? This is the part of the show where we let you guys play studio execs. You're the big wigs in Hollywood, and we are going to pitch you our ideas for a certain thing. And this week, since we just talked about this MCU X-Men thing happening,
right.
What we want to pitch for you guys, we're all going to go around our little triangle here.
Did we get their check?
Well, we will. You gotta do the pitch, man.
All right.
So we are gonna pitch you how we would introduce either the X-Men or the Fantastic Four, the Fox properties, into the MCU. And then you guys, through your comments, will look at it and on next week's show, we'll announce who you guys thought had the best pitch. So, who wants to start this thing off?
I'll do it.
There we go.
Here's how we introduce them.
Bam.
Boom.
Deadpool. Deadpool can introduce them, and he could just break the fourth wall and be like, hey, yeah. So Disney bought us out from Fox, and now we're over here to play in our playground. And then now they're there. Also, the fact that they're doing this whole Spider-Man movie with there being a multiverse,
right?
They can bring them in that way. And the fact that if you look at the Doctor Strange movie, the Ancient One told him that there's a multiverse. There are many dimensions with things going on. So now that makes everything canon. Oops.
Smooth move, Dinkus.
I'm sorry, but that makes everything canon because there are many universes.
Many universes.
Okay.
So the fact that they can go through dimensions or whatever is just like, boom, Deadpool can break the fourth wall, and now they're there.
Okay.
And that's the easiest way, and everyone would accept it.
That's the easiest
so is that just real quick, is that a Deadpool movie or like you're doing a Deadpool movie? He
This
just comes in, he's like, yo, man.
This is how you bring them in Avengers 4.
So you want Deadpool in Avengers 4. That's how you do it. Okay. Still Ryan Reynolds.
Still Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
And then the awkwardness that would ensue between him and Scarlett Johansson.
Because they used to be married.
Yes.
Okay.
See
all
what
right.
he did there?
That's what you got there. That's all you got.
That's all I got. We got to wrap this thing up.
No more details. Okay.
That's
all
true.
right. Mr. Woods, how you going to do this thing? I know you put some thought into this thing.
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't.
All right,
I went to Kevin Feige and I was like, yo, man, I got nothing.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
That's it. Nah, real quick.
Or you just going to keep them separate?
Yeah, that's it, man. Look, I would think that I don't know how it's going to end for the Infinity War in terms of the films. I know how it ends in the comics, but something along the lines of Adam Warlock wrestle with Thanos to reset the MCU.
Yeah.
Eternity comes out of there because we're used to galactic beings by this point, and he says all that ever was is now whole again, and he resets the whole MCU. And from there, there's a shot. Yeah, there's a shot. Yeah, he snaps his fingers. Everything's reset. Galactus. You see a shot of Galactus, and he says, "Go forth, my herald, and get what's was once ours," or something like that. And you see Silver Surfer flying through. And as you see Silver Surfer flying through, Fantastic Four's rocket is going over Xavier's place over in White Plains or whatever. And boom, it starts from there. Okay. It starts with Fantastic Four. That's all I got. So you're going to see a shot of Xavier's school for gifted youngsters. You're going to see Eternity. You're going to see Eternity telling you all that ever was is now whole again. There's a hint that everything is all coming back together. Galactus is sending Silver Surfer back to Earth to do something, and Fantastic Four is now entering the MCU.
So they're all going to have costumes with fours on them, and we're just going to know who they are.
That's it.
How would we know who is like Johnny Storm going to be on fire and Sue's going to be invisible?
Everyone will know.
Everyone knows. We're not going through that.
The internet will take care of that.
Yeah, we're not going through that.
All right.
We're just jumping right into it.
All right. It's like if you see Thing, you're going to get it. Like
you got to do a Thing and Korg buddy cop movie.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. So let me just go and win this thing real quick. All right. This is what I'm doing.
This guy, all right.
I put some thought into this.
All right.
There's a lot. Like, what do? Are you gonna recast everybody? What? Like, how does all this work?
No, man. Because that whole multiverse thing shows that there's all these universes, so it could be wherever, however many of them, and all of it is canon.
There you
It's
go.
a multiverse.
All right. You said it's a multiverse.
All right, that's fine. Now I need everybody to. I need silence right now because I'm about to piss this thing. Okay,
here we go.
Kev.
All right.
That's how me and Feige work.
So you and Feige are cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I just call him Kev.
Okay.
K, actually. All right, check this out. So,
Quick pitch.
here's where we start with this thing. Your first movie out the gate is a brand newly cast Wolverine, and I'm casting Kit Harington, Jon Snow, and hold on.
All right, you know what? Hold on. Like,
Let me
let's
finish.
listen to what he got to say. All right. Let's listen to. He
Hold
already
on.
lost.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
I know, right? All right.
So
all right.
I'm introducing
interfere.
Wolverine as Kit Harington, and it's gonna be a Wolverine versus Hulk movie because that's where Wolverine was first introduced in the comics. And where did this whole thing? Banner's out there. Where did this guy Wolverine come from? Mm-hmm. And then Banner has to meet up with Vision, who explains to him that there's this dude out there, some dude in Westchester named Charles Xavier. And apparently mutants have been around, and I'm recasting all of the X-Men except for Deadpool. I'll tell you about him later. I'm recasting all of the X-Men, and basically the X-Men have been here the whole time, but Charles Xavier, because he wanted to keep mutants safe, has basically wiped the Earth's mind of anything as it relates to mutants.
Okay.
And so, because Vision has the Mind Stone, Vision finds this out, and he explains that to Banner. And so now there's this fight. And hold on. That's your first movie, right? And then you start the Fantastic Four off in the 60s.
No,
during
you're
the
doing
space
too many
race.
pitches.
Hold on, no, it's the same thing. It's all a part of the same thing.
Okay.
It's all gonna come together.
All right.
The Fantastic Four was off in the 60s, right? During the space race, they went out into space, and they were one of the ships that got lost. So we say that they're out there because time passes differently from wherever they were. They end up bumping into the Guardians of the Galaxy. The Guardians of the Galaxy, because Infinity War already happened, points them back to Earth. They get back to Earth, and now they're here. And Reed Richards is the one who buys Tony Stark's old building. Because remember, he left it there. So now you introduce us to Wolverine first. That's the first thing you see, and we're trying to figure out where he came from. We go over to Vision. Vision points us to Professor Xavier. Professor Xavier explains why he kept them secret, and they're all over. So now we know they're going to get introduced. And then the Fantastic Four are just coming back to Earth now after being gone from the 60s and time passing. Oh, that way.
Whatever.
Boom! We'll see next week. That's my pitch. I want to thank you guys for tuning in so long. This is the new format of the show. I'm proud of myself.
Kit Harington, that's what he was done. He's got hold on. Look,
you didn't
hear nothing else he had to say, right? As soon as he said Kit Harington, that's it, man. All right, get us out of here, man.
I'm getting us out of here. All right. Well, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is our new format. And if you like this video, if you liked what you saw, you want to see more, because we're going to do it like this every week, and we're going to move the show to a regular time on Saturdays. It'll always be live stream, and we want to take your questions. So if you guys leave us some comments or questions, they will definitely get addressed next week, and we'll do call-ins. So if you love movies and TV like we do, we want to talk about it with you. So do us a favor, click like, click subscribe, do all of those things. By the way, Mr. Woods, tell them where they can find you before I get us out of here.
Right. Why Woods, Why Not across the board, or whywoodswhynot.com.
All right, and Mr. Johnson, besides the particulars.
Stop saying what you think I'm going to say. The, dot, period, whatever, the, period, dude, period, a box.
Okay.
With a Z.
With a Z.
Right, and at Marty McFly on Twitter if you don't want to be answered.
I don't even have Twitter on my phone.
And you can find me at Steve A.M. Johnson on your favorite social network, as long as it's not Twitter. But like I said, tune into us next week Saturday, and you can tune into us in about an hour or two after we watch the Walking Dead mid-season finale. We're going to be on live doing our after-show reactions. That's okay, because now we can fast forward to commercials.
Thank goodness.
With that, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you in a little bit.
Yes, sir.